with the final reaction video completed, you know what that means. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy here on the final day of February to give you all my review of RWBY Volume 3. So RWBY Volume 3 obviously follows RWBY and the gang, who are representing Beacon Academy by participating in the Vital Festival tournament, as well as facing the threat of Centerfall, her crew, the White Fang, and a swarm of Grimm in a three-part climax that can only be described as The Empire Strikes Back meets the season finale of Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2. That's how epic it was, guys. Now, sadly, this is the first volume of RWBY made without its creator, Monty Oum, at the helm, as he tragically and unexpectedly passed away a year ago. And after his death, a lot of people were speculating as to what the future of RWBY will be. What will the show's fate be like without Monty supervising the process, as he has kind of been the driving force of the series ever since its conception, and now he's no longer here. Will it dip in quality? Will it still be as good now that he's no longer around? Fortunately, I have to say that the team behind RWBY did an excellent job at preserving Oum's legacy by keeping the show as great as it is. In fact, they probably made the best volume of RWBY yet. This was a really great volume, guys. And I know a lot of you are gonna say, oh, Tony, Monty actually pitched the stories like long time ago, like he planned it all out. I understand that. He had a lot of input on the story. This is something they've been planning for a very long time, but he is no longer like the director or the producer. He's not the one guiding the vision anymore. He came up with the vision, but he's no longer guiding it. But I have to say, the people who are now guiding his vision did an excellent job at doing so. Literally almost every single element in the series was brought to the next level. The animation, the action, the story, the characters, hell, even the voice acting. In fact, they actually hired some well-known and revered voice actors in the anime community to voice characters in Volume 3, including Vikman Nog and Yuri Lowenthal. Both the animation and the action in this volume is some of the best I've seen in the series thus far, especially when it came to their spectacular action sequences. My goodness, they just keep getting better and better with each new volume. The action sequences in this volume alone was some of the most riveting, compelling, fast-paced and energetic action in the series. Like, I just could not get enough of it. I could not take my eyes away from it, and I just wanted to see more. Not to mention how the action sequences in this volume felt more dire and had more weight to them than in previous seasons. Not to say that the action sequences in previous seasons weren't that good or compelling or had weight to them. They did. But in Volume 3, that's when I felt like the action was a bit more intense and had more weight to it. And I'll go into that a little bit more later on. The established characters are all still great and a treat to watch. I really enjoyed seeing them interact with each other and their badass moments as well, with many great new additions to the cast of characters, like Crow, who was my favorite new character out of the bunch, who is the uncle of RWBY and Yang, voiced by Vikman Nog, and he did a really good job at voicing the character. The character came off as badass, came off as smooth, and there's sort of a mysterious aura to him. You want to learn more about the character. He's fascinating. I also really enjoyed seeing the expanded relationship between John and Pyrrha. They actually shared a very sentimental moment in episode 8 that just really touched my heart, and I just loved seeing it. I wanted more moments of that, but I was happy for the moments that I did get. It was really well handled. But not only are the heroes really great and get a lot of focus and attention, but this volume actually fixed and addressed a major issue I had with the previous two volumes. They gave some focus and development to the villains of the series to make them quite fascinating and overall badass. Like, you get to learn more about the villains, what their motives are, and what they can do. I mean, man, these villains are freaking badass and pretty damn cool. Especially Cinderfall. my goodness, I fell in love with this girl. Just seeing the shit that she can do and the plan that she concocted and pushed into motion. Like, this is one tough antagonist, and I just love the girl. She's freaking awesome, and I can't wait to see what she does in the next volume. And though I would have loved to learn more about the villains, as we only got really one episode focused entirely on them, I'm just happy that we actually got that episode and we finally understand what their motives are. But honestly, the best thing about Volume 3 was its story, as it was far more compelling and riveting than the previous 2 seasons. Not to say that the previous 2 seasons were bad, it's just everything that happened in Volume 3, that's when the shit got real, and I could not take my eyes away from all of the events that was happening. I mean, sure, it was slow to start off for the first 6 episodes, but once episode 7 happened, that's when things got into high gear and it never stopped. Not only that, but the tone of the story went from being a fun adventure type story to a much more darker and somber tone. Like, it was so jarring to see episode 6, which was so dark and moody and just telling this really interesting story, but at the same time it was also tragic. It was just so weird, as the previous volumes and the previous episodes were pretty fun and whimsical, nothing too dire. But then all of a sudden, like, holy crap, shit started hitting the fan, and it was heavy. And I found it very interesting that a lot of you brought up the fact that they planned this out since the very beginning. Like, this isn't something that they just said, hey, let's just go a darker direction now. No, Monty and his crew, when they were writing the story, they planned this from the beginning. This was gonna be the point where things start getting real and the true story begins. And my goodness, the final 3 episodes of Volume 3 was a non-stop roller coaster ride of cheers and tears. I mean, you just had a mixed bag of emotions when seeing the final 3 episodes. Like, at one point you could be like, oh my goodness, that was freaking awesome. Look at that badass moment. Look at that. That's so freaking cool. Oh my goodness, there's a dragon. Oh man, I'm having so much fun. And then you'll be like, oh my, what? No, I was completely speechless by the events I witnessed in the final 3 episodes. I was totally devastated. Not only because of what happened in episode 12, but something happened in episode 11 to a character that I did not see coming whatsoever. And my mouth just dropped. I was completely shocked. I was like, there's no way. No way. They would not do something like that. No, they're not going to do something like that. Nope, they did it. And I was just like, wow. I applaud you guys for actually taking the risk and taking a darker direction and tone with your story. I mean, usually some people would have like a knee-jerk reaction, especially when you start off so fun and whimsical. Especially me. I have a problem with shows that start off one way, then end another way. But for me, I thought this was really refreshing and the perfect evolution for this story to take. But unfortunately, I do have some issues pertaining to Volume 3. The first one is that although the story was great, in fact it was the main focus of Volume 3, and I still enjoyed seeing the characters, some of our established characters were sorely lacking in both screen time and development. Particularly Blake, who is my favorite and the most interesting of the 4 core girls. She barely got any moment to shine in this volume. Yeah, sure, she had her small moments here and there, and you see her share a really tender moment with Yang, which I actually really liked, and they do touch upon a really tender subject with her in the final 3 episodes. But then that's it. The character doesn't have much to do in Volume 3, which really sucked because she is the best of the 4 girls of RWBY. I liked her the most. I wanted to see her in the center of some of these stories, but it just never happened. There are still many questions from the previous volumes that remained unanswered here in Volume 3, which really upsetted me, as I thought finally in this volume, as a lot of things were being revealed and a lot of things were happening, that we'll finally get some more answers. And sometimes we did. I mean, we kind of got a little bit of an answer dealing with Yang's mother, but not a full answer, an answer that we really wanted to hear. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, she's around, and she's somewhere. That's the answer we get. I'm like, that's not an answer. That's just, you're being vague on purpose. That's not fair. And the final and biggest issue in Volume 3 pertains to Chapter 12, the last chapter. Now, I won't go into great detail in this video, as it is a major spoiler, and I have a lot to say regarding the topic, so I'll save it for another video later. But let's just say that in the final chapter, something happens that just doesn't sit right with me, as I felt it was completely unnecessary and uncalled for. Not because I have biased feelings towards it, but because I felt like it should have been somebody else. It shouldn't have been this character. It shouldn't have happened to this character. It should have happened to another character. That's as vague as I'm going to put it, and it just upsetted me. Not on a personal level, because it just didn't make sense on a story and character level. But seriously, overall, besides the small issues with this volume, RWBY Volume 3 is spectacular and fantastic. One of the best volumes of the series so far that does a great job at continuing the work that Monty Oum started so many years ago and continuing his legacy with pride and conviction. And if you're a fan of RWBY, you are doing yourself a disservice not seeing Volume 3. It's already finished. Go check it out, because this volume is going to get a 4.5 out of 5 stars from yours truly. It is one hell of a volume or season, whatever you want to call it. It's just really great. Go see it. But anyway, what did you guys think of this volume? Did you enjoy the hell out of it as much as I did? Which I find really boring and dull, and it's just not the same without Monty. And let me know, what is your favorite moment in RWBY Volume 3? Comment below and let me know. So until then, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel and be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm Tony One in a second, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.